Okay, everybody, why don't we get started? We have quorum. Just to begin, I'd like to note that I am recording the AGM. We intend to make it available on our website for those who couldn't attend tonight. Trust there's no issue with this, but if there is, please do let me know by chat. My name is Rock Ripley. I chair the foundation. I'd like to welcome everyone to our first virtual AGM in my knowledge ever, but these are not ordinary times, as we all know. Just one more procedural matter before we start. We do have a quorum here tonight. It is an official meeting, so we'll have motions and whatnot. The only people who are able to move, second, and vote on motions are going to be board members who I'll introduce shortly. Also, we'll have a formal Q&A session at the end of the presentation. But if you do have a burning question, you can ask it via the chat functionality or by unmuting your mic and asking at an opportune time. So with that said, I would like to get started. I presume everybody can see the presentation. To start introducing the board members, I've already introduced myself. I'm the chair. John Wolfe is our vice chair. Carol Cahoon is our treasurer. Hazel Jumrati is our secretary. Trish Mandale is one of our 3 statutory appointees. She represents the city of Coquitlam. Andrea Jabor is the 2nd of our statutory appointees. She represents the Tri-Cities Chamber of Commerce. Craig Woods is the 3rd of our appointees. He represents School District 43. Members at large. Sid Sharma is one of our members at large. We have 2 more members at large who have just accepted offers to be on our board today. One is Malik Malikzada, another is Jack Trumley. That brings the total number of board members we currently have to 10. I expect we'll have 2 more people accepting offers shortly, which will bring our total complement to 12 members, which is what is required or permitted by statute. The next item of business, I would like to approve the agenda. The person who is offered to move a motion to approve the agenda is Hazel Jumrati. The person who's going to second that motion is Carol Cahoon. I see we have all our board members on my screen right now. If anyone does not consent or vote in favor of that motion, can you please let me know? Seeing no objections, thank you for not torpedoing the meeting very early on. That motion passes. I will note as well, you might have noticed that I'm kind of playing with the slides. Apparently it is set to auto advance, so that's messing me up a little bit. I think I fixed it. If not, I apologize for that. Next, I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes from last year's AGM. The person who is going to move is Sid Sharma. The person who is seconding that is Trish Mandale. Do any board members vote against that motion? Seeing none, that motion passes. Now I will pass the mic, so to speak, over to our treasurer, Carol Cahoon. Carol, take it away and present your report.
Thanks so much, Rock. Good evening, everyone. My name is Carol Cahoon. I'm the treasurer. The Coquitlam Foundation's financial fiscal year end is June 30th, and we have completed our independent audit with the accounting firm Manning Elliott. Due to COVID-19 virus, all communications and documents were shared in a secured electronic portal, and communications were through emails, virtual meetings, and via telephone. The Coquitlam Foundation's opening balance for the 2019-2020 year was $3,215,330. The main regular sources of revenue over the past fiscal period consisted of two major donors adding $950,000 to our assets, both of whom our executive director will share more details in her report of. With all other greatly appreciated and individual and continued ongoing contributions, another $200,000 were allocated to various funds held within the Coquitlam Foundation. In addition, and due to the COVID-19 situation, which started in March, other unique revenue streams were received, such as the first portion of a total grant of $254,000 from the Community Foundations of Canada regarding the Emergency Community Support Fund. $127,305 was received at the beginning of June, and the newly created Tri-Cities COVID-19 Community Emergent Fund added another $46,000. Both of these funds have been distributed to help support further local community organizations who were becoming increasingly overwhelmed by heightened vulnerability due to the effects of the COVID-19 crisis. The combination of the total proceeds received for the year added up to $1,329,323 in donations. The foundation added an additional $980,000 into the RBC Dominion Securities portfolio, and throughout the course of the year, the interest and investment income was a positive increase of $86,662, with realized and unrealized gain on investments being $40,466, which combined with the $1.3 million in donations has brought us to a grand total of $1,457,931 in revenue. The RBC Dominion Securities portfolio for the Coquitlam Foundation continues to be invested in a relatively conservative manner with approximately 40% equity exposure at this time. Despite the unprecedented volatility of the past 6 months created by the COVID-19 pandemic, the investment fund has recovered all losses incurred during the sharp February and March sell-off in asset markets around the world. The value of the fund now sits at a record value, and returns for all periods are now positive, with a one-year return of 6% and up slightly year to date. It is the intent of the investment managers to continue to add to select investments on the equity and fixed income sides of the portfolio as opportunities arise in the near to medium term. Further details around our investment policy can be found at the Coquitlam Foundation's website under About Us, Financials and Policies, and then Investment Policy Statement. Expenses also increased, but mainly due to distribution of the annual grants and scholarships into our local communities, organizations, and to support students' further education. Plus, the first distributions of the COVID-19 related funds granted from the Community Foundations of Canada were also allocated to the local community organizations. Contracted services show an increase in association with the processing and distribution of the Foundation's awarded funds. With that said, the year's total expenses were $229,000. Unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 circumstances, any regular fundraising efforts have been temporarily put on hold, and we're currently looking at other ways to raise funds in order to generate income to cover the Foundation's ongoing administrative costs. Over the year, taking all revenue and expenses into account, the Foundation had a positive increase of revenue of $1,228,927, which brings the Foundation to the final year-end balance of funds totaling $4,451,695 as of June 30th, 2020. For more detailed information and to view the audited financial statements, please visit the Coquitlam Foundation's website under About Us and then under the Financials and Policies. I just wanted to finish by thanking everyone involved with assisting in completing this year's audit and I look forward to another great year, a positive influence in our community. Thank you, Rock.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks for your report, and thank you for stepping forward as treasurer this year. I'd like now to appoint our auditor. Manning Elliott has been our auditor for several years, and we'd like to appoint them for at least one more. So Craig Wood is going to move that Manning Elliott be appointed as the foundation's auditor for the upcoming year. Andrea Jabor is seconding that. And if any board members oppose that motion, can you please speak now or forever hold your peace? Seeing no objections, that passes. So we just heard Carol's report, my report. Really, what more can be said about 2020? Heck of a year. It's been eventful for the community and for us. So as Carol mentioned, first and foremost, COVID-19 has significantly increased the demands placed on local charities, while at the same time hurting their cash flows. So in response, we've been fortunate to be able to award more than $300,000 of COVID-specific relief to local charities. And by local charities, I mean predominantly, of course, Coquitlam charities, but also charities located in the Tri-Cities and outside the Tri-Cities that provide significant services to Coquitlam residents. $300,000 of COVID-specific relief is an extraordinary amount for us. And just in COVID-specific relief represents roughly 3 times the amount that we would award in a normal year. Despite being a charity ourselves, and as Carol mentioned, having to cancel our own annual fundraising events, we were able to nonetheless fund this extraordinary giving from 3 different sources. One, we joined forces with the other Tri-Cities community foundations, the Port Coquitlam Foundation and the Port Moody Foundation, to host the stay-at-home gala in May, which raised a total of $46,000 specifically earmarked for us. 2, we received roughly $250,000 from Community Foundations of Canada, which we've dispersed in its entirety. And 3, instead of replenishing our community fund, as had been our intention at the beginning of the year, we used income from that fund to help the community during this unprecedented time. In addition to the money we awarded at our annual awards ceremony, which is money we would typically award in the normal course, we gave over $375,000 to the community this year. Second, as many of you already know, we hired at the beginning of the year a new executive director. Lisa Landry, who'll be speaking to you shortly, started as our ED in January and has been instrumental in particular in our COVID response. Lisa has already helped us establish a new fund, has reached out to several fund holders, and as the acute phase of our COVID relief passes, we'll be reaching out to more. So you can expect to see more of Lisa as the day-to-day face of the foundation. And third, we have had recently significant turnover at the board through retirements and some resignations. The past couple of months have seen 5 new directors, or will shortly see 5 new directors start on the board out of a total complement of 12. The turnover in part relates to the significant time commitment expected of directors. And while each director has my thanks, I'd like to highlight in particular the service of 2 of our directors who've recently completed 2 terms and have reached their term limits. Linda Meneghello, who was instrumental as our events chair over the past several years, and Colleen Talbot, a past chair of the foundation. And again, I'd like to thank Carol for stepping forward to be our treasurer this year. She's done an outstanding job of getting up to speed and of carrying that load. So for the sake of our community, I hope sincerely that the year to come will represent a return to normalcy for all of us. Only time will tell, but I know for certain that regardless of whether things return to normal or not, the foundation will be here to help the community. So thank you all for your support. I'd like now to recognize the various committee members who have contributed over the past year. Because of our strategic plan, we, in the past couple of years, have restructured our committees with a big upfront focus on governance and fund development, and we're going to continue that work. So governance and policy, I chair that. Colleen Talbot is also on that, as is John Wolf, our vice chair, and Julie Fisher. On fund development, we have Iris Sun, Colleen again, and Hazel Jumrati. On events, Linda remains on that committee despite no longer being the chair. Colleen is also on that. Andrea Jabor, Janet Toddington, June Chen, and our executive director, Lisa. And our grants committee is chaired by John Wolf, includes Carol, Tara DeBeery, Dan Durpak, Ron Grender, Jim McIntyre, Linda Meneghello, Diana Pingelli, Linda Reimer, Ravinder Safaya, and Janet Toddington. John in particular also chaired the committee that was administering the COVID relief funds. On marketing and communications, Trish Mandeo, Andrea Jabor, and Lisa are on that. And now I would like to pass the mic to Lisa Landry, our new executive director.
Hi, thanks very much. I appreciate that, Rock. I'm Lisa Landry. I'm the new executive director, as Rock mentioned. I want to start by telling you a little bit about our new funds that we have this year. There is 4 that I'd like to tell you about, the purpose and the a little bit of history behind the fund itself, the people involved. Starting with the Margaret Susan Price Fund. I think that Rock mentioned this last year, but it is noteworthy to mention it again because for both Sue and the foundation. Just to tell you a little bit about the Margaret Susan Price Fund. Sue what she loved most was animals, particularly cats. I guess she was the ultimate cat lady, and she was very passionate about doing something for geriatric cats, and her end goal was to be able to do something for cats, as like I said, geriatric cats especially. So the purpose of this fund is that 60% of it will go to organizations that are in or serve the Tri-Cities area that rescue, rehabilitate, and find adoptive homes for cats, with an emphasis on the placement of adult senior cats that followed up on a placed rescue. And 40% will go to organizations that foster cats to live out their senior years with willing and able seniors. These can include programs that provide boarding of these cats in the event of a holiday or travel plans, and all vet bills, including transportation to and from pet-related appointments. This year, 2 organizations were given the first awards from Sue's fund. Kate's Place Animal Shelter received $10,000, and Paws for Hope Animal Shelter received an award for $3,500. Also last year, Rock authored an article on Sue's gift and the fund, and it was published in the Leave a Legacy newspaper supplement. And we do have a copy of that article if you wish to see it. So you can just send an email to info@coquitlamfoundation.com, and we'd be happy to send you a copy of that. The next fund that I'd like to tell you about, a new fund, is the Coquitlam City Soccer Metro Fords Sports Scholarship Fund. And the new fund was established by the soccer club. The purpose of the fund is to support the pursuit of higher education opportunities for notable graduates of the Coquitlam Metro Fords Soccer Club, recognize and memorialize the contributions, characteristics, values, and passion of the founders, builders, and sponsors of the community soccer in the Tri-Cities, to highlight and celebrate success of future generations so they may go on to even greater accomplishments and invest in youth and their families. Some years ago, as many of you might know, the club also established the Dominic Mobilio Fund. And a little bit about Dominic. He was a long-time member of the Vancouver 86ers, which turned into the Vancouver Whitecaps. Played 14 seasons, beginning with the team in the Canadian Soccer League, after joining the American Professional Soccer League. Before finishing up with the Whitecaps, he retired from the game in 2001. And upon his retirement, he was also the technical director of the City of Coquitlam's Soccer Association, became a coach of youth soccer in Coquitlam, and he unexpectedly passed away in 2004. As for the soccer clubs, established both funds. As the soccer club has established both of these funds, they have compatible purposes. At the club's request, we're going to go forward with being collectively marketing and granting from these funds. Third new fund that we have this year is the Engineered Bodies Continuing Education Fund for Social Justice. And Engineers Bodies, for those that you don't know, is a strength and conditioning and physical educational facility in Port Moody. Their core values since their humble beginnings are integrity, commitment to quality, commitment to continued education and growth, and commitment to building a strong, diverse community. Recent events around the world have prompted the owners, Anthony and Samantha, to publicly express their values of diversity and inclusion. And the purpose of the fund is to provide financial assistance to Black, Indigenous, and people of color pursuing post-secondary education in the fields of law or social work, with the goal of amplifying Black and Indigenous representation, perspectives, and voices as they pursue social justice and equality in our society. So this is a great new fund that we're really excited about, and they're thrilled to be a part of the Coquitlam Foundation as well. And the fourth fund, which Rock and Carol both already mentioned, is our Tri-Cities COVID-19 Community Response Fund. And we have established the fund with the Port Moody and Port Coquitlam foundations. However, it's important to note that we each have our own funds, so but we market them collectively together. So people from all three communities can contribute to all three funds, or just the one that's in their community. And we, in seeding this fund, the first thing that we did was to host a fundraiser collectively together. But the purpose of the fund, as you know, with COVID-19, a lot of the not-for-profit organizations who usually help people in our community have been under a lot of stress. And so it was an opportunity for us to assist them, to assist families and individuals, to get through these challenging times. So all of the proceeds that come into this fund will stay within the Tri-Cities to help build the rest of it. So those are the four funds that we've established this year. So I got the slide. Rock?
You should have the slides. Is the slide thing not doing it for you?
No, it's not moving for me.
I will, there we go, I got you. So we've got, why don't you let me know when you want to advance?
Okay, so we're ready to advance. So a little bit about the grants. Again, just to give it a bit more detail, that some of the things that Rock and Carol have already mentioned, but this year's grants awards night looked a little different as it was held virtually, but we still managed to give out the bursaries and scholarships to a number of individuals and not-for-profits in the community. So over 40 scholarships and bursaries were given out, 13 grants to not-for-profits, and the annual awards night, we committed over $71,000 to the community. Slide. And there's a little bit of an idea of how much was given out. So collectively over the course of the foundation's awards, we have given out $1,670,000 to not-for-profits and individuals in Coquitlam.
And that excludes the $300,000 in COVID-specific relief, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So moving on, just tell you a little bit about the Emergency Community Support Fund. So this is an initiative that came from the federal government, and it was there was $350 million that was run through the Community Foundations of Canada, oh, I'm sorry, I just lost it. Community Foundations of Canada, the Red Cross, and the last one has escaped me, but we'll circle back to it. But
United Way.
United Way. Thank you very much, Carol. And so what we did is we actually, between the three Tri-Cities foundations, we worked together with the funding that we each received through the Community Foundations of Canada in partnership with the federal government. And we worked collectively together to assist 21 registered charities in Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam, and Port Moody. So the $254,000 that we received collectively with the COVID-19 response fund, we've given out close to $600,000 in the Tri-Cities to assist a number of not-for-profits in our community. And there was, if we move on to the next one, you can see that the need exceeded the available funds. And so thank goodness we had established the community response fund, because we did have extra cookies in our cookie jar, so to speak. So we did manage to give out another $38,000 in grants, which we awarded to 8 Tri-Cities serving registered charitable organizations. And we're going to continue to try to get more donations into this this particular fund, so that we can continue to assist the organizations. As everybody knows, we're anticipating that there will be greater need coming into the fall and the winter months. So we'll be marketing and trying to get that information out to the community so people can assist as best they can. So next slide. And so part of our fundraising, as Rock had mentioned, we did a stay-at-home gala. This was a fun-filled night for everyone. It was an evening. It was the first of its kind. It was a virtual gala held, which it was 3 hours of entertainment, local music. A number of businesses stepped up to assist us in our silent auction, as well as the Tri-Cities Chamber of Commerce, the local BIAs, Port Coquitlam and Austin Heights. And the event itself was part of a national gala that went across the country. So there was a number of events were being held that same night. I think from what we've heard is we were probably one of the most successful ones that happened in the country, because we did work collectively together. I think we were the only organizations that actually did that, and collectively we raised close to $150,000. So each of the foundations got close to $47,000 from that fundraiser. And then just to sweeten the pot a little bit, the Vancouver Foundation stepped up and gave us a $30,000 gift to contribute to this funding. So it was a very successful night. And with regards to other events, we had, like I said, we had the awards night and the AGM that was hosted last September as well. So next slide, please. And just with regards to marketing and communication, I'd like to give a tip of the hat to Andrea Jabor, who has recently been working really hard on taking care of our website as well as our social media. Our numbers continue to grow. Currently, our Facebook likes are up, our Instagram likes are up, our LinkedIn likes are up, Twitter's up, everything's up. So Andrea's done an incredible job with that, and we are very appreciative of her efforts. Next slide, please. And the other great initiative that Andrea launched as well was an external newsletter, and this is being sent out quarterly. It will update our fund holders and people in the community with regards to what is happening with the foundation. It's a great way to have a personal touch with a number of people. We can see just from the opening rates and the click-through rates for the first 2 editions that it's been very successful so far, and I think people are enjoying the opportunity to get the information. I want to just make a note that September stats that they're showing there, the 40% open rate and the 6% click-through rate, is only as of September 16th. It's only been out for 48 hours. So that just goes to show you how successful it's been. And that is it, I believe. Oh, well, yes. And so here's the lovely slide talking about the Coquitlam's net asset growth, as Carol mentioned and Rock both did mention. But the foundation is growing leaps and bounds, and we attribute that to all the long-term fund holders and the new ones. So thank you to everyone that has assisted us with this success. And that's everything I have to say right now. Thank you.
So we're at the formal Q&A part of the meeting. Does anybody who is attending have any questions, comments, or other feedback? You can just unmute your mic and start talking. I see.
Good evening.
Hi, Nellie.
Hi, I don't have much to say except thank you very much for the great work you've been doing. Just looking at the graph and hearing some of your statistics, I'm very hopeful for our community, and you've done a great job preparing for this kind of rainy day season. And I know that the pandemic has impacted so many people in very difficult ways, and I hear some of them through my office. And I just can't tell you how grateful I am for the work that you do to facilitate these charitable organizations and societies and outreach centers to be able to reach out to the marginalized and to the vulnerable in our community. If there's anything that I can do on top of the funding you're receiving from the federal government to assist you and some of the other organizations that are on the receiving end of your work, please reach out, and I'd love to help. We're in a time where our foundations are the rug is being pulled under our feet on some levels, and I can't stress enough how important you are in terms of the help people need. The government can only do so much, and as you know, there's only so much that can get around at one time, and there's a lot of caution there too that has to be. There's a lot of things to juggle, but when we have people like you and our outreach programs that we have in the Tri-Cities taking care of the people, you really are able to fill the gaps on the front lines. And again, you have no idea how much that helps our community and how aware I am of that. I won't go into more detail. There are some of the organizations that you helped that I have been in touch with, and they're very grateful, and I'm very grateful that you're able to reach people that the government may not be able to. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. It's always great to hear about the positive effect the work of the foundation has on the community. And thank you also for your offer of assistance, which we have recorded and may revisit in the future. So thank you very much, Nellie. Are there any other questions, comments, or other feedback? Well, hearing none, I'd like to thank you all for attending, for staying through to the end. If any of you have any questions or comments that you think of afterwards, our contact information is on the Coquitlam Foundation website. We'll post a copy of this recording on the website as well. And for general inquiries, feel free to email the address Lisa gave earlier. That's info@coquitlamfoundation.com. With that said, the motion to adjourn is moved by Carol Cahoon, seconded by Hazel. Are there any objections to adjourning? There are not, so the meeting stands adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.